Hey guys, welcome to Braddels Gaming and to another episode of my Far Cry 5 community creation series. In this series, I play other people's maps from the Far Cry 5 arcade, and today we're going to be playing one of my favourites in the Far Cry 5 arcade. This is The Stairs by Squandor. The Stairs is a multiplayer map, and it is probably the trippiest map, or one of the trippiest maps I have ever played in all of Far Cry. It's all centered around these islands that float in the magenta-filled starry bright sky, and the chaos that ensues in multiplayer, especially in Deathmatch, where every single person in the lobby is trying to kill you, and you them. Every island is connected in some way, mostly by grapples, climbing ledges, bridges, or ziplines, and of course the centerpiece of this map, which gives it its plainly obvious name, the stairs. These stairs form from the top of the map where the house is, cascading all the way down into the deep abyss below, which provides a sense of mystery and intrigue for the player, while simultaneously providing a sanctuary of silence and solitude should the player choose this path amidst all the craziness and chaos above. Now, given my familiarity of this map, after breaking down the pros and cons, which I'm going to do today in a compliment sandwich style way, I'll briefly drop a few hints on how to best play this map. Winning isn't always everything, especially in a game like Far Cry, which is far from anything remotely competitive, but still having a good strategy before playing means you will get more kills and subsequently have more fun regardless. I feel like talking about strategy and tactics for a multiplayer map in Far Cry is also important, it giving us a greater appreciation for the creator and their map, as any map that can make us as players think about strategy and tactics is truly a map worth playing. Now, the first pro of the stairs is its uniqueness in both the environment and gameplay. I have seen other maps centered around floating islands before, but all of those were solo co-op map experiences, unlike the stairs, which is multiplayer based. As such, the stairs offers a completely different dimension gameplay-wise from other multiplayer maps in the Far Cry 5 arcade, as players must fight precariously over small islands suspended in the sky and only really capable of hosting one person at any given time due to their sheer compact size. This creates a lot of close quarter craziness as players must continually compete to stave off enemy players from all different directions, and gives players greater variety in how they approach the map, as they can either stay on the island they spawn on and defend it, or constantly move around to find new targets to shoot at. The wacky gameplay and trippy environment creates the perfect balance for something new and refreshing every game, and throw in an assorted arsenal to complement the craziness, such as mounted machine guns, sniper rifles, a rocket and shovel launcher pickup, not to mention the standard weapon loadouts which have assault rifles and shotguns, and you have an insanely tense map consistently delivering fast-paced, close games. You've also got to make sure you don't fall off the edge of the map, either during a gunfight or when traversing between the islands, although as you'll see in the gameplay today, I actually used the reality that there was nothing solid behind me to escape death by another player's hands, which is of course a very sneaky tactic you can use on this map to stop an enemy player from scoring a point. It may be the cowardly response, but it's also a very effective defensive preventative scoring strategy, and most importantly, a great troll. I must admit though, it's also pretty fun jumping off the map for the sake of it, even as a challenge to see if you can grapple onto a grapple point as you're free falling down through the air. Now, in terms of the cons for this map, it's hard to pick for this one because I've never really had a negative experience on this map. However, it might be a good idea for the creator to consider removing the amount of guns positioned around the map, or at the very least downgrading them from the M250 mounted guns to the lesser M60 mounted guns instead. Some could argue that they are very overpowered and can change the course of the game too abruptly. You can see in today's gameplay that is very much the case. The match remains relatively tight for the entire time, until the very end of the gameplay where after jumping on a mounted machine gun, I in quick succession mow down 6 people with it in 30 seconds. Now, the next sentence is going to sound slightly hypocritical, especially coming from the guy that used this weapon of mass destruction in the first place, but I actually really like the implementation of mounted guns on this map for the following reasons. Number one is that they're all evenly spaced around the map, giving players all over the map free reign to use them. Number two is that they've got little to no cover, meaning they're very exposed in all directions. Number three is that any player using them paints an instant imaginary target on their backs, as their exact location is revealed to everybody else in the lobby. Number four is that players are much more likely to move around the map to avoid being in the sightline of active firing mounted guns. This means there will be less islands for players trying to avoid these mounted guns to hide at, because more people will be crowding to the same islands. This means more interactions between other enemy players, which helps to maintain the average high pace of gameplay this map always seems to offer. This is my theory anyway, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Do you think the mounted guns are too overpowering in this map, sometimes spoiling a tight battle for the top of the leaderboard, or do you think the upsides outweigh the downsides? Nonetheless, they're still very fun to use, and I think a lot of players actually underestimate them, the fact that they're out in the open perhaps making them seem very gimmicky to use. The final pro for this map is the verticality. No island is really directly level with another island. Every solid part of the map that you can stand on is on a completely different level to everything else. This creates an abundance of contrasting sightlines and angles to shoot other players from, and just adds to that sense of chaos and unpredictability each time a player has played this map. Having played this map many times, I know what to expect and how to play it, but because of all the different variables placed on this map, albeit in a uniform way, the map is always super fun to play and doesn't seem to get old or stale. And so the 3 tips that I offer you for playing this map is number 1, to make use of the mounted guns. You're not really going to find any other weapon with such raw power as this one, but make sure you're not using it the entire time. Be sure to move around so you're not the most obvious target on the map. And number 2, when you are moving around, make use of the perimeter of the map. This means you're less likely to be seen, and you can quickly duck behind one of the huge rocks placed on most of the exterior islands if you are indeed found. Finally, number 3 is to make use of the verticality. Try to find different places on the map where you can shoot other players from. This might be through sniping on the highest island on the map, the one suspended in the middle, or from one of the few buildings situated around the map. And with that, this brings another Far Cry 5 Community Creations episode to a close with what is one of my favourite maps to play in the Far Cry 5 arcade. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the stairs by Squandor, and if you did, please remember to like the video, comment your thoughts, and if you're new around here, to subscribe and hit the bell icon for future channel notifications. I produce heaps of Far Cry based map editor content, so if that's something of interest to you, be sure to follow the channel as I showcase more maps on the Far Cry community, including my own. Hopefully my love of this map has prompted you to consider giving this one a go for yourself, or perhaps sparked your own map idea that is also centered around the notion of floating islands. Either way, I'm Braddels Gaming, I'm signing out now, and remember to have yourselves a great day.